the meantime, that $2 trillion coronavirus relief package approved by Congress was supposed to help businesses and unemployed workers get through these tough times. But Paul Murphy reports there are bottlenecks keeping that money out of people's hands.
Small businesses in the New Orleans area are struggling financially because of the coronavirus outbreak. To make matters worse, they're also having little success accessing the billions of dollars in SBA loans set aside by Congress to pay employees and business expenses for the next 2 months.
We've not processed one yet because of the system glitches and things that we've seen over the past 2 days.
Jefferson Financial Credit Union President Mark Rosa says because of the glitches, the Paycheck Protection Program has pretty much been put on hold. The program provides forgivable loans up to $10 million to small businesses in distress. According to Rosa, the SBA website crashed on Tuesday, and right now there's a lot of unanswered questions about the loan guarantee.
Some of the businesses are saying, you know, I might not be able to last until May or June or July, whenever this thing is. And what if I decide to close my business in the meantime? What if I decide to make other decisions in the meantime? Tomorrow is very uncertain.
More people are now eligible to apply for unemployment. The Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act expanded the scope of individuals who are eligible for benefits to furloughed, self-employed, or gig workers.
They say we're supposed to receive it, but it's not here yet.
Latrice Harris is an independent contractor. She applied for unemployment benefits because her real estate company isn't selling any houses these days. But for 2 weeks in a row, the Louisiana Workforce Commission has sent Harris an email notifying her she is entitled to $0.
The government, they messed up because they misled a lot of people with this. So that's all I have to say.
Governor John Bel Edwards said Louisiana has just received its share of dollars for coronavirus-related unemployment claims and will begin paying out the $600 per week in benefits on Monday.
This includes, and this is really important, this includes the 1099, the salon, the gig, and other self-employed workers.
277 Louisiana workers filed for unemployment benefits over the last month alone. That's compared to 103,000 for all of last year. Paul Murphy, Eyewitness News.